Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of this show. Maybe they should have a different name. Across the Stars special Patreon exclusive. This is going to be a short one because I have shit to do. And, but you know, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a shorty but a goodie. And we're just going to kind of vibe. I don't really remember what we were up to. Maybe I should. Maybe I should have a day once a week. It's just like LP day. Just recording LPs. Thing is... Oh. God. Okay. Well, let's do some fiddling around with this, shall we? Character sheet. Here we go. These better. These are better than my current gloves. Yeah. This is better than my whatever this is. It's better than my current shoes. How do I... What is this? Can I not... You cannot equip this item, okay. Well, I guess I need to go to a shop, right? So where's the shop? Okay, that's not what I want. I want... Journal? Mission log. I guess we'll finish this up? Or whatever? Yeah, that seems okay to me. We just need to talk to somebody about and sell these items so I can have stuff in my inventory. I would like to... Yeah, it's just not worth it at this point for me to pay for a subscription for kind of obvious reasons. Because it's, you know, I'm only playing this once a month right now. So, but maybe, you know, I might, like, I could kick up another character, and at that point, you know, because this is LP exclusive. I'm not gonna be doing Sith Inquisitor stuff outside of this. But, I kind of wanted to have a Jedi character. I've only been on the Empire, and so I'm curious about how the other stuff lands. The thing is, my suspicion is, and people who have played this, oh yeah, there's fucking Battle Pass. Because everything has to have a goddamn Battle Pass. You know, I seem really annoyed with that, and I guess I am, but also I played a lot of Halo Infinite this week and had a perfectly good time. So maybe I'm just broken. I mean, I think it's less, to be clear. I pretty much every objection with Halo Infinite, I'm totally down with and understand, and I'm not upset about. Right, like I get why people are mad about the Battle Pass, and I get why people are mad about the controller stuff working the way it does, and you know, it's all like very understandable, and like, you know, you know, but it also just doesn't bother me, and I am kind of like feeling, I don't know, maybe some kind of way is a little dramatic, but I am like, am I just a corporate stooge? You know, am I just like just not in? But also, I guess the thing is, it's, yeah, like, especially in this kind of thing with Halo Infinite, you know, and to be clear, like, I think Halo is genuinely artful in many ways, but it is also kind of, you know, it's video game about shooting dudes. It's a theme park thing. It's not... I think describing it as profound would be almost absurdly charitable to it. You know, so I don't know. I'm of two minds about it, because one, I do think it's generally frustrating, and two, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just like video games are like this now, and like being good at it is not necessarily a good thing, you know. Like having a better battle pass is maybe like I don't know if that's actually less exploitative than what Halo Infinite situation is now. You know, it is what it is, but yeah, I also don't want to be like, oh, I'm above this. Like, oh, because I'm enlightened and because I know that all these things are just stupid toys that, you know, people shouldn't be upset about it. Like, Fraser Crane voice. I think that's silly, right? I think at the same time, like, yes, we do need to have some perspective, right? And like, you know, that kind of thing. I think that's important. But also, that I don't think that means that we have to... Are we gonna land here? What's going on? You know, that doesn't mean that we have to be condescending or weird. And also, like, we's weird to use there, because, yeah, people just have different feelings about it, and that's fine. It's, like, very... Oh, God. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, activate the red engine. Okay, well, I guess we're going in here. You know, so, yeah, that's just to say, like, I kind of don't care, but also it's not bad to care, and I'm not enlightened, you know. And it is, yeah, and the thing is, stuff like this does matter, because it has material effects on people's lives, right? I just think Halo Infinite's, like, an example of that more than it is a particularly egregious one, even if it kind of is that, too. Oh, does he want to talk to me? Do you want to talk to me? Can we? Okay. I'm like, is that why you're speaking Sith or whatever at me? Lord Zash is my lady, right? Is my femdom master. Okay, here we go. Let's talk to our person. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I like the idea of having a character that's just speaking a different language, right? I think that's kind of cute. God, I really... Okay, this is unrelated, but... So I played Far Cry 6. I wrote a piece about it for Bullet Points, bulletpoints.com. You can find it there. It's called Revolution Without Community. People seem to like it. I think it's pretty good. I was very nervous about it for some reason. Once again, getting vulnerable on this fucking show. Anyway, I played that fucking game and it's awful. It sucks shit. And, one of the things that's kind of sucks about it is that like it's a Spanish speaking country that you're in. It's fake Cuba, right? But people, instead of speaking Spanish, they speak English and sometimes say hombre or guerrilla or whatever, right? And I think you could just put the game in Spanish, and I guess then you don't get the stunt casting, right? Because I don't know if Giancarlo Esposito speaks Spanish, right? And so, yeah. And he's fun. Like, I don't, like, it obviously sucks on some level that he's cast here, but also it's not a real country, and the whole thing is rotten. Like, there's no way to say Far Cry. So I guess on some level I'm kind of like, it's cool that he's, so okay, where do I go for this? Okay. So, but yeah, I think you could just, the thing is, I know why it doesn't happen, and, yeah, but like, what if you put for example, what if you put the game in Spanish and then put the resources of an English dub into, like, really good subtitles and localization, or, or like, what if what if the default is, Spanish lip syncing and stuff? I don't know. There's just ways to do this. But maybe, I don't know. I think there's also ways to, because I also watched a few months ago. I watched Silence, the Martin Scorsese movie, which is great. And portions of that movie are in Japanese. The principal characters are Portuguese, which is but they're played by English-speaking actors, right? And nobody speaks Portuguese in the movie. They do an accent, right? And the movie does kind of try to make clear when people are speaking Portuguese. Like, English sort of substitutes in for that. And actually, I think that's okay. I think part of it is because I think it's a great movie, but also I think Martin is not just making this movie. It's not like an English speaking remake situation. Like, it is genuinely different. He has like very personal reasons for making it, right? Like, it just does not feel like silly or disrespectful to the source material, right? Or just a remake so American audiences can get in on this, right? Or that corporations can make money, because it was, extremely difficult to fund, right? Like, so it's not as if, and actually, I really want to watch there's a 1971 version. I really want to watch that. And the thing is, like, that version, is like half hour shorter, right? Like, it's probably just a really different movie, and that's exciting to me, right? And so, anyway, so I think there are definitely, what I'm saying is, I think there are definitely situations in which you can have characters who are not speaking English speak English, right, as sort of like movie magic stuff. And I think that totally can work. I think it's totally fine, and I don't think it's by definition disrespectful. I think Far Cry 6 definitely is, right? And I probably would have had at least slightly marginally better time with it if I had set everything on the Spanish voice track, right? Because there's just no reason for all these characters to be speaking how they're speaking, right? It's ridiculous. It feels really silly. And I think that's the thing, is like, I think what you could do is, you could just have everybody speak English, right? But then you wouldn't have the, exotic, you couldn't fetishize it, right? In the way that Far Cry has to do, by definition has to do. So it's, I don't know. It is whatever it is. It's just, it's just bad, and I just wish it wouldn't be the way it is, I guess, But whatever. Man, the thing is, this is horrific to say, and I'm not gonna test this out in all likelihood unless somebody really wants me to write about it. I don't know why. I don't know who would commission me about Far Cry 5 in this year, but I am kind of curious about it. Not in the sense that, oh, I bet this is like thoughtful, but I think maybe there's something kind of honest to it because, well, the thing is, yeah, this is the thing. This was something I was thinking about, and I thought about bringing up in the piece, but didn't end up doing it. Is that even you could be like, oh, like Far Cry is like sort of returning home. It's like about imperialism or sort of these, violent forces. But the thing is, the U.S. is still, it's not home, right? For whiteness or for violence or imperial violence, right? That's Europe. Like, America may be like independent from Europe in some ways, right? The U.S., but it is colonized space, right? It is very much like in you can set Far Cry in America, but you cannot set it in France. I would be very interested to see what that game would be like, right? But I think by definition, you kind of have to be in a different way with it, right? And that's, I mean, it's kind of interesting, but yeah, like, I just don't think there will ever be a Far Cry game that will be set in not sort of a place that can be exoticized, right? And that's true of Montana, right? In a way that, like, I don't think it is true of, like, England or whatever, right? Like, which is also interesting because, the foundation of sort of the current Ubisoft model is like Assassin's Creed, obviously, and those are games that, for the first little bit, largely take place in Europe, right? So, but also the way you, who, oh, this guy. No, not this guy. That's a different guy. What the fuck is going on? Okay, there's this guy. Okay. So yeah, like, I don't know. Oof. But yeah, those games are just miserable. And also, yeah, okay. Here's something I want to address. I've got so much pent-up energy about Far Cry, it's sickening to me. I really spent, like, a whole day of my life, like, in terms of hours playing that. And I'm just paying the cost every day. But one of the things that I think is worth addressing is I think there has been a call for Far Cry to just get silly, right? Instead of trying to speak to politics, right? And to be clear, I just don't think Far Cry is something that should exist. I don't think there's any redemptive element. I think the only way maybe you could get something of worth out of it is to kind of go back to the Far Cry 2 model, where it is like, on some level, creating just like a model of imperialism, right? And I don't think that's a thing that's gonna, like, is as marketable as it was back then, right? So I don't know. This is just to say that I think it's here's one. I just think it's wasted. I don't think you can do anything with it. I guess that's kind of true of video games in general, right? But people are gonna keep making stuff, so I'd rather them make something else. And the thing is, like, even, I mean, obviously, Ubisoft is really fucked up right now. It has been for many, many years. So I don't want to be like, but I think even within the business model, like I think Assassin's Creed Origins, for example, like that is a game that has issues and has a lot of the same issues as Far Cry 6 in many ways. Like it's still kind of a game where you're resisting imperialism by doing imperialism, yada, yada, yada. But I think it's like genuinely really thoughtfully written. It seems really like sensitive. It helps a lot, of course, that it's like in a real place, right? And like based on an actual historical moment rather than sort of gestures at that kind of stuff. You know, so but yeah, so I would like to go back to that. I think we could do that. I think we could just make more Assassin's Creed Origin games. Maybe. I don't know. The thing is, it's also, like, I do think there's this weird thing where, I feel like there's kind of this moment and, like, I think we're going to need some distance from this even more to kind of talk through it, but there's kind of this moment with, like, Mafia 3 and Assassin's Creed Origins, and, is that it? There might be a couple other games that I'm forgetting here. But it seemed like we had sort of a bunch of games that, like, dealt with really serious topics with, like, relative nuance and had, like, it's sort of, there was a way in which it felt like those opened up to a new kind of AAA open world game. And, you know, that call was resoundingly rejected, right? So... Oh yeah, earlier, so when I was freaking out about the, these are the same thing. Anyway, this is just to say, oh yeah, I just really hate how, because Star Wars has like an ableism problem, right? That it's like, Darth Vader becomes inhuman because he is, machine, you know, more machine than man, all that stuff. Right, like that is, like straight up just an element of the show. I mean, of the story, right? I think the thing is, here's what I will say. I think there is some genuine complexity there, to some degree, right? There is a level of the narrative being about, like, yeah. The moment of I think I've talked about it on this, so I won't get into it. But let's just say, like, Return of the Jedi complicates this a little bit. Even the prequels complicate this a little bit, right? It's not, I don't want to be like, oh, it's actually really nuanced, or it makes up for that stuff. But it, you know, there was complexity, and this just does not do that, right? Like, this guy is weak and bad because he has cybernetic enhancements. Right, and this is a way that we can, like, exploit him. There's this really weird sort of, like, yeah, there's not the consideration of disability at all here, and I think that is unfortunate, right, in a way that I think some Star Wars can kind of gesture out. I'm curious, yeah, like, I'm trying to think about, like, are there... like disabled characters in like Rebels or those kinds of shows? I really don't think so, and that's unfortunate. Because I think, I don't know. Well, I think science fiction in general is a realm where you can sort of you can talk about disability without it feeling and just it be like a part of life and have it be empowering and cool, right? Like an example of this actually is Halo Infinite, where and actually Forza Horizon does this too, where you can just have prosthetics, right? And that's like a setting you have on the thing. I think that's cool, right? I think people should be able to kind of tinker with that kind of stuff. That's neat. I just think that's really neat. And it would be, I mean, this game was from a little while ago. I think before, in some ways, this stuff was at the forefront of cultural conversation, but also, I don't really think that's a good excuse. So, I mean, yeah, like, we're not, we just fought a savage vine cat. Like, we're not talking about the pinnacle of nuance here. And I just think it's hard, because there's also part of it is like, oh, you are explicitly the bad guys here, and so it makes sense that you were shitty. Right? I'm not necessarily asking for you not to be shitty, but I think I would just like that to be in a kind of way. I think that's also the problem, is like the idea that like, oh, you can be on the light side and be a Sith is, kind of pretty silly. So I don't really know how to, like, yeah, once you are turning sort of Empire into, like, the evil Empire into a, like, faction that you just play as, and it's the skin that you wear, and like, like, yeah, the thing is, like, in World of Warcraft, you're talking about Horde v Alliance. I mean, I'd probably be like, the Alliance is the bad guys, but like, there's at least some like kind of appeal towards nuance there, or reasons why someone could be on either side, right? There are other factions that are straight up evil, and it's not the Horde or the Alliance, right? So, all right, let's see how long we got left. Okay. So yeah, we're getting close to wrapping up here. I'm going to see if I can get to this next zone, maybe, and then call it, but that'll be that. Because I'm recording a podcast in a bit. How about that? I wonder if I can take the speeder over there. Yeah, but I do think, I don't know, I'm coming back around to thinking about Far Cry and like language, because I think it would be cool. Like, it's something that's interesting is like, there's obviously perceptions of like foreignness in video games, right, all over the place, and obviously Japanese video games, but there's less like, well, it's not even true, obviously, but like the way we interface with that is not that different, right? There were very few games where it's like, oh, I have to like find subtitles, right? Like localization, I guess part of this is the way the interface of games works. You are not, very rarely is there like a accommodation that feels sort of outside of the thing, that someone had to write, translate and write subtitles that are then displayed along with the film. There's that sort of a separation in craft there, right? In a way that there isn't, like, localization is sort of folded into the apparatus itself. So maybe I'm just sort of, but yeah, like, I don't think, we don't, and I think we should probably, we don't really talk about like, game scenes along the sort of national lines or cultural lines in the same way, right? There's sort of gamer culture, and that kind of homogenizes everything, and I don't think it should do that. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk to this quest giver here, and then we're gonna be done. Bootstraps. That's not what I said. shall have your reward. It's not menacing at all. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna log out. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Video games. That's neat, I guess. I hope y'all have a really nice time. I can't. Actually, I was about to be like, I should upload this, but this not information that's going to be helpful to you. So I'm just going to call it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.